Get giddy with it. It's your boys, Gav and Migs, and it's time to rock and roll. Let's go. It's NBA Front Row, the podcast, episode 22. I hope y'all can hear me the way I can hear you. No rhyme or pun intended. It's your boy, Jeff. It's your boy, Mig. It's another exciting episode of NBA Front Row, the podcast. Kind of an exciting last couple of days for NBA basketball, huh?
Oh yeah, I mean like this has been a very fun playoffs, no? Kasi parang
Kasi. What the?
yeah, I had to put in the Tagalog at there.
Tagalog slang in there, right?
Yeah, it's been a very fun playoffs because the unpredictability of the season with all these injuries, with guys missing games due to COVID.
Yeah.
Like we have a lot of strong teams who are seeded lower than. I mean, lower than they should be, diba? It's like the Lakers should not be a 7th seed. The Mavs should not be a 5th seed. Diba? If everyone was healthy.
Yeah. Hey man, look. I'm gonna call it already. Like this happened the past 2 months. I'm gonna say like somehow, some way, my picks gonna fuck me up again, and I'm gonna lose this month again. I don't know. It's like I have like. Okay, so I had great luck for
terrible
the
luck
weeks, and then I have like the worst luck when it comes to the last part of the week. I don't understand what it is. I'm gonna call it like, okay, I'm just gonna start picking whatever again. Like, all right, whatever. If I win, great. If I lose, whatever. Like, I'm starting to get used to doing the punishments anyway. Like, I'm not gonna expect anything anymore. Whatever, man. Fuck it. Anyway, so yeah. Speaking of the unexpected, yeah, I mean, got a lot to get to. A lot of interesting stuff happening, but before that, Migs, who do you want to give a lot of love to? Who do you want to give a shout out to?
Oh yeah, it's same people, diba? I mean, the people who always tune in, and then Aika's really busy right now because she's leading the worship for her action group in Lingkod. So Lingkod ng Panginoon members in Ormoc, guys, thank you for all your support.
Oh yeah.
And I played with our previous sponsor, Quaid Dilao, earlier. No?
Quaid Dilao!
Yeah.
That's really cute.
Quaid, thank you. Thank you, Quaid, for your help.
For sure. Mm-mm.
Great day for Lakers fans. Great day for Mavs fans.
Talk about that in the first thing we're going to cover because it was really lit last night. And I'm going to bring a lot of fans up to speed on that. From my end, I want to give a shout out to 2 particular groups. One, it was the soft opening today of Common Ground Bugo. Mad shout out to Mickey and Mark Malazarte if you're watching. Again, big shout out to you guys. Congratulations on the soft opening of Common Ground Bugo City, Cebu. Migs, you're getting a lot of invites to come back home.
Yeah.
Here. You got a lot of invites.
Apparently people want me around, huh? And I think
people just think that because of you're associated to me. But go ahead and tell them how valuable you are. Go ahead.
I mean, I think they've forgotten just because we haven't seen each other for so long. They've forgotten how difficult I am to be around. So but I mean, I'm really good in very small doses.
Exactly. I think the term was in small doses. I was like,
yeah,
they might have a point.
I'm an acquired taste.
Yeah. So, again, big shout out to Common Ground, Mark and Mickey. If you're watching, congratulations on the soft opening in Bogo City, Cebu. We cannot wait. Migs, myself, Popoy, and Derek. Maybe one time we're gonna hit that place up. More than happy to eat whatever is on that place. Anybody and everybody, if you're watching, Common Ground, Bogo City, Cebu. Make sure to hit that place up. Got a lot of great food. Love local, if anything, ladies and gentlemen. Love local. And shout out, of course, to our second sponsor, Showroom.ph. Quality homes, quality prices, your friendly neighborhood home finder. It is one of the biggest up and rising home finding sites and applications that are looking to cater to Bisman listings, specifically in the real estate world. Big shout out again to Showroom.ph for sponsoring NBA Front Row, the podcast. Let's get to it, Migs. Again, it was first thing we got to cover is that, so a lot of people last night, were starting to really, there was a lot of doubt LA. When I'm talking about LA, I'm talking about the Lakers. A lot of people were throwing the towel. A lot of people were saying it might be time to throw in, or might be time to panic. Now, the headline of today's show is no need to panic. Because if you guys know full well, there's a guy that you don't bet against. His name is LeBron James. Year in and year out. year out, year in and year out, people love to bet against LeBron James. But word to the wise is that you don't do that. You just don't. It's not
Yeah.
smart. Migs,
Yeah.
talk to me about what the Lakers did right in game 2.
Oh, they came out of the gates more aggressive. Like just from
Uh,
from the jump ball, the defense was more aggressive. AD was looking for his shots more, and then I mean you look at AD's stats. You look at AD's stats.
mhm.
He got to the line I think 15 times. Let me check. Let me check. Uh, like he got to the line 21 times. So that shows you that he was a lot
Wow.
more aggressive, like a lot more aggressive this game. I think he put it on himself, the game one loss. So I think he made it a point to attack the basket more. Um, and again, but the defense was what stood out to me, huh? Because you look at Devin Booker's stats. He actually shot only
Yeah.
7 for 17. Devin Booker was only 7 for 17, but he still
Mm-hmm.
got 31 points because for some reason the Lakers kept fouling him from three in the last like 50 seconds of the game. So he shot 70,
But
ended up shooting
yeah,
17 free throws.
I thought that
Yeah,
was also a little bit smart. The reason why is because he doesn't get a rhythm at all. He
yeah,
didn't get a rhythm going
yeah,
to the paint, driving. He didn't get a rhythm shooting, and that
and
in turn kind of slows down Phoenix. Yeah.
yeah, and I don't know about you, but I think this game two also showed that Phoenix is still. I mean, Phoenix is a very good team, but they are also a very young team because
Very young.
it's the same thing that
Exactly.
Charles Barkley said about the Blazers. Now they get one win, and then they kind of relaxed. I mean, Devin Booker ganina, he did not seem fired up. He did not seem engaged in the first half.
Yeah.
He was not aggressive. He was passing off. He was passing off a lot of shots. He was trying to be a playmaker. But the thing
Mm-hmm.
is, Devin Booker has to realize that okay, you're a good playmaker. You can make all these passes. You can create for other guys,
Mm-hmm.
and that's good to have in your bag. But
Right.
your game is centered around being an elite scorer, and you're more. And
Exactly.
if you're playing in a playoff game, and you want to be a playmaker instead of the scorer, the elite scorer that you are,
Mm-hmm.
you're doing the other team a
Mm-hmm.
favor, diba? So
Exactly. But
I'm
Migs,
expecting
more
next game
so,
that yeah, go ahead, man.
more so than I think their youth is to blame for them relaxing. I think it also is more to blame for their lack of preparedness because this is a problem with a lot of young teams, okay? This is a bit of a problem with a lot of young teams. So what happens is you win one game in the playoffs, let's say in particular game one. It's not that they're relaxed, it's that they're not prepared for the adjustments the other team is going to be making. This is what happens when you face a veteran team like the Lakers, a championship team like the Lakers. You got to remember, a lot of the same guys that were there last year are actually back. A lot of the core members of that, LeBron, AD, Kyle Kuzma, KCP. These were guys whom in last year's bubble run, they did a lot of things right. And come playoff time, they're always going to be ready. One game isn't going to define them, not for Jack. They're going to come in, they're going to prepare, they're going to adjust, they're going to feel you out, and then they're going to knock you on your ass. That's what they did last year. If you guys remember, first round in the bubble last year, Lakers versus Blazers. Blazers took game one. Everybody was saying the same thing. Oh no! Everybody was pegging the Blazers to take out the Lakers. What happens? Lakers do, I think it was a gentleman's sweep, 4 games to 1. Next series, what did we have? We had Lakers. What did we have in the next series? Lakers versus in the second round. I think we
It
had
was
Lakers
Lakers Rockets.
Rockets.
Yeah.
Rockets won game one. Everybody was starting to say, oh, the Lakers can't keep up with their 3-point shooting. What happens next? Lakers win again. I think it was a gentleman's sweep as well, 4 games to 1. So, word to the wise, again, this is going to be something that I hope Phoenix will also, because we love to see the dog in them. We love to see them fight. We're not gonna say that Phoenix is well out of it. We're definitely gonna go out on a limb and say that they're gonna also make adjustments. And as a veteran, there are a couple of veterans on that team, especially a guy like Chris Paul. So you can definitely expect Phoenix to make the right adjustments heading into game 3. Probably also make the right calls heading into that game and make sure that, they're going to give a fight because it's going to be tough. They won game 1. They thought they had home court advantage, but right now it's something like they took a shot in the mouth, and I don't know. It's always tough for young teams to come back from this.
Oh yeah, I mean it's a. But the thing is, no, the great thing about the Suns is it was actually still their young guys who
Yeah.
who carry the scoring who's carry the scoring output for them. They make DeAndre Ayton was still pretty good in just his second
Oh
playoff
yeah.
game.
Oh yeah.
And Devin Booker, he did try in the second half to get himself going,
Right.
but I think by that
Right.
time, because the Lakers did such a good job at just funneling him towards their big guys, and a lot of credit goes to Andre
I
Drummond,
actually yeah.
double double in the first quarter,
Yeah.
and we were saying that we should see a lot less of him na. I mean,
Okay, so I
uh,
gotta give a lot of credit to Andre Drummond. All right, he
yeah,
definitely made the right adjustments as well. So what I thought I saw also, Migs, and confirm my observation here was that they did a lot to Devin Booker, but they did to Steph Curry. Okay,
yeah,
so what do they
yeah,
normally do? It's actually a semi-trap in the half court. Every time Booker has the ball, they're forcing him one way. It's a Baylor
yeah,
type concept. The Baylor, if everybody who's watching this show is familiar, Baylor, the University of Baylor recently won the NCAA championship this year, and they have a philosophy on defense. It's called the no middle defense. So what does that mean? Basically, you're gonna force the ball to one side, either the left or the right, and that's it. That's all you'll give. So it's actually also the same concept that you run when you run a trap. Ideally, the way to break it is you force the ball in the middle. Somebody either flashes or somebody opens up in the middle. However, the problem there with the Phoenix Suns is that it ruins a lot of the rhythm because a lot of the rhythm relies heavily on Devin Booker. I thought that's what I saw with what the
yeah,
Lakers did. They did a lot of trapping up top. Same treatment with Stephen Curry. They don't want to force your middle because if you're a great offensive player, oftentimes you want to be in a situation where you have your middle. So Kobe and Jordan's middle was always mid post, and then they have a lot of space to operate in between the wings. Guys like Devin Booker, they want a lot of space to operate. If you give them one way and you try to flatten them out that way, it kind of ruins the rhythm.
yeah. I mean, yeah, that's a good point. No, it was more like a non-committing trap
Exactly.
because they just wanted to funnel them, diba? So they kept funneling them into tight spaces, which forced Devin Booker, CP3, which I mean those two except for Cameron Payne, for some reason, Cameron Payne was
Mm-hmm.
burning the Lakers tonight. So they forced them into these tight spaces, which
Right.
Devin Booker and CP3 had to make all these difficult passes, and the Lakers were
Mm-hmm.
just so quick with their hands, so active with their hands that they could either pick off the pass and go for a fast break.
Right.
It could just
Yeah.
lead to a turnover, or even if they did make the pass, at least it's not Devin Booker or CP3 who makes the shot, diba? I mean, and it's a forced shot
Exactly.
sometimes. It's a forced shot. I
And
mean,
that's what I
I
was
mean,
about to
I
say.
think
Yeah.
I think they're just trying to pick their poison between the three, and I think they'd rather have the Andre Ayton, who's just gonna score a lot of twos.
And Cameron Payne.
Yeah,
Exactly. And
I think
Cameron Payne. It's a
they'd
great big
rather
man.
have these guys score than Devin Booker getting hot. Diba? And the
Exactly.
thing is, I mean, the third quarter is just so important for these two teams because in the
Yeah.
game ganina, right off the bat, when the third quarter started, I think the Lakers went on a
Mm-hmm.
10-0 run. So they
They did go
they
on a
were
10
up by
run, yeah.
15. Yeah. And then
Exactly.
all of a sudden, here comes the Suns with a 10-0 run of their own. And
Yeah.
they came as close as, I think they came as close as 4 or 7 points. 4 or 7 points in the
Yeah.
third. I mean, the third was big.
Yeah.
And I think Drummond was big for the Lakers. Marc Gasol
Mm-hmm.
made an impact. But the
Mm-hmm.
thing is, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you guys always call me the resident Lakers fan, but I'm a realist. I'm borderline
Right.
pessimist with the Lakers.
Uh-huh.
I think this was
Right.
still a very good game for the Suns for a couple of reasons. They still competed without CP3. I mean, they still competed.
Uh-huh.
And this game gave guys like Cameron Payne and Cam Johnson like a lot of confidence na, hey, I can put my mark on this series. No?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that might be part of the Lakers game plan to have like that they'll
Yeah.
just settle for other guys getting hot. But
Yeah.
that's still, that's a double-edged sword, huh? Because
Yeah.
if the Suns won this could have easily been the campaign game. Wait, let me just plug in my charger. Oh, man.
Uh-huh.
Right, we're good. Okay, so this could have easily been the campaign game. because he was really good. He was burning the Lakers off those pick and rolls. And the
Ah,
thing is, DeAndre Ayton is still very consistent. I mean, like, he was very physical down low. He didn't back down from either
mm,
Drummond or AD,
right.
and
Ah,
he still got his double double. So I mean,
right.
that's those are a lot of positives for the Suns. Like a lot of positives for the Suns. This is
Ultimately,
still a very scary. This is still a very scary team, and this series could still go either way. Lakers fans,
I'm
no
not saying that it
complacency.
won't. Yeah, no complacency. Yeah, I'm not saying that it's a done deal with the Lakers. They're going to be in a good fight here against the Phoenix Suns. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, this is still the number 2 seed in the West, and as we all know, in the wild, wild West, anything can happen. But
They have the
there's
best
one.
road record in
What
the
is
NBA, I think.
probably, but you know what? This series ultimately, you know what? This series and a lot of the Lakers' series is going to come down to not even one play, one thing. It's actually one person, and it's really Anthony Davis. The way he plays solely dictates how the Lakers will go. Because if there's one guy who's always consistent, it's LeBron James. You know what you're going to get from Bron night in and night out. You're going to get a great performance, 25, 8, and 8. From the rest of the guys, you're going to get like a couple of threes from KCP, a couple of good layups. Schroeder, you're going to get good playmaking, and then a couple of points here and there as well, maybe a double digits points. But Anthony Davis, he has to play great night in and night out. And what I mean by that is, if the Lakers want to be an overwhelming favorite, there is one guy on that team that is also an overwhelming presence, and it's Anthony Davis. There is no way you're gonna tell me a guy like Jay Crowder is gonna be able to cover Anthony Davis. I think you're crazy. If you're gonna tell me third or fourth year pro, I'm not sure, DeAndre Ayton is gonna cover Anthony Davis, I think you're crazy too. No one on the Phoenix Suns roster, one-on-one, matchup-wise, can guard Anthony Davis or LeBron James. That's crystal clear. On the other end, there's a lot of guys on the Lakers who can at least put a lot of pressure on guys like Devin Booker, guys like Chris Paul, Cameron Johnson, who also played a big part earlier, Cameron Payne. These are Cameron Johnson and Cameron Payne, the two Cams on that Suns team. They're not exactly superstar potential. I'm just saying, I'm putting the names out there because they had a pretty good game. But again, going back to my point, there's one big X factor here in this series. It's going to be how Anthony Davis plays. And it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird that I say this is because Anthony Davis is a bona fide superstar. And when I say that, it's proof is in the pudding. He's going to score. He's not only going to score, he has to score 20 points a game, grab 10 boards. You can't have Anthony Davis scoring 18 and 7, grabbing 18 points. It's just not. The Lakers like, what the? We need you to be more. We need you to do more. That's who you are. You earned the big bucks that way, Anthony Davis.
Yeah, man. I mean, again, he made good on his promise. I mean, there was so much doubt after he came back from that injury. Now, okay, his jump shot is still off. No, he still hasn't
Yeah,
gotten his rhythm. I mean, he still hasn't gotten a consistent rhythm from the free throw line,
yeah,
where he's usually very good. And
very good.
sometimes
Above
I don't know
average.
about you, I don't know about you, but it just feels to me that he's still hesitant about contact. Like he shies away from contact right now. I mean, it's
I agree,
understandable
actually. I
because of
agree.
his injury, but no, it's not the Anthony Davis that we saw in the bubble where no, not only was he taking it down low,
Flat
but
out
he was
dominating.
forcing the issue sometimes, diba? I mean, it's so when
Yeah.
there's still something very off about this Lakers team. I don't know if I know it may be a chemistry issue considering all the new guys that you're trying to incorporate, but it's also like a rhythm issue for your three scorers, diba? Yeah, LeBron James. We all know LeBron and AD miss a lot of time because of injuries. But Dennis Schroeder
Yep.
also missed a lot of time right before the play-in because of COVID.
A lot.
So
Yeah, a lot of that has
it's
to do with COVID.
yeah, and you look at this game, it's the four starters all scored in double figures. KCP had a bad night.
Mm-hmm.
No, LeBron was literally shouting at his face, "I want you to shoot it." Which, by the way, is very
Yeah.
good for LeBron because LeBron is usually criticized because you know, he's not as fired up of a teammate. He's not known for to be a motivator sa iyang teammates. Like
I
sometimes
love
he's very
that though.
subdued.
I love
Yeah,
that
but
about LeBron. Yeah.
Ganina, that was great to see that he was fired up and in his teammate's face, trying to fire up his teammate because he wants him to have that confidence that when I pass you the ball, I want you to shoot it. Diba? That was great. That was great to see Ganina.
Hey, okay. All right, I wanna talk about this real quick when it comes to LeBron James. Don't get it twisted. We're not a LeBron James show, but I gotta give credit to where credit's due. Because over the years, if you've actually observed how LeBron James plays, to me, he's one of the greatest offensive weapons the NBA has ever seen. It's really hard to guard a guy who knows exactly what to do when. So, for example, a lot of NBA coaches, if you guys remember the Shaq era early in the 2000s, what was Shaq's biggest problem? Passing out of the double team or reacting or doing or making the right play when he's being double teamed. You can't just overpower 3 or 4 guys. It's Shaq like. Yeah, we've seen all the photos, but it's not because it happens more often than not, or maybe 60 or 70% throughout the game. That when you get the ball, you're gonna face double, triple teams, and you just can't do it every time. The problem that a lot of teams face with LeBron James is that when he sees double or triple teams, he knows what play to make, when, and where. So this is the same thing you're seeing this is the same thing you saw in the past when you had guys like J.R. Smith, when you had guys like Iman Shumpert, Matthew Dellavedova on those really bad, horrible Cavalier teams where your starting point guard was George Hill, and then you had you had a washed up, really bad Kevin Love. You had Channing Frye, who was one of your best off the bench scorers. I don't even know where Channing Frye is right now. Then you had guys like Richard Jefferson, who was not a bad option offensively.
But he was old.
And now he carries that over to the Lakers.
Old.
Yeah, it was old. And then now you have exactly what this is to me where LeBron is just super underrated. His playmaking ability kind of ignites a lot of his teammates. And if I remember correctly, with what J.R. Smith said, there's energy in the ball when he passes it to you. And ultimately, that's what I thought was really cool when I saw that clip of him yelling at KCP. LeBron is not going to pass, if you know what I mean. He's going to give you the ball. Your job when you're open is shoot it. Do it. Don't pass up anything. That's what I'm giving you the ball for. LeBron, that's the cool thing I get about LeBron James. He's going to continue to trust his teammates. Again, guys, he's not going to be like Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan to me is the greatest, probably one of, if not the greatest scorer of all time. But in my own opinion, LeBron James is the greatest offensive weapon of all time, simply because he can't
makes everyone
defend
better.
a guy. He just does. Michael Jordan, there's so much to his game also, but ultimately LeBron James will make the right play. That's just my opinion. I'd be more than happy to really argue with anybody who wants to come on the show and then come at me for it. But hey, let's do it. This is a fun show to debate on. So after the Lakers took out the Suns, the one game that also caught this group's attention was the Clippers and the Mavericks.
I mean, it was such an experience. It was such an experience because I had the Lakers on TV and then
I had to watch the other game.
Mavs Clippers on my phone. It was I was switching. I mean, every time time out sa Lakers, I'd go to the Mavs Clippers and then I'd go back to the Lakers. And then, the Mavs Clippers, it was not a close game. Diba, Jeff? It was not a close game at any point. At least it didn't feel close. But it was so fun looking at, the baby goat, Luka Doncic, just make mincemeat out of this Clippers defense.
You know what I think?
He doesn't even care about Patrick Beverley's defense, man. Fuck that. This guy is too fucking small.
I don't know what the Clippers are doing. A couple of things that really annoyed me about this game, all right? Because I bet the Clippers last night, and I thought, okay, Kawhi Leonard's going to step up, which he did. I think he had 40 points or something. I'm not going to fault Kawhi Leonard. Paul George was not pandemic P. He actually put on a really good show. The problem was the rest of the
ankles
absolutely suck. They suck. I don't get it. What the? So, and Luka Doncic and Tim Hardaway Jr. Tim Hardaway Jr. had a whale of a game. I was so surprised. At what point? So you have Paul George on your team, and I'm gonna assume that either Pat Bev and Kawhi Leonard were, trying to figure out Luka Doncic. They didn't, and I really thought Kawhi Leonard should have been the one to 90% of the time Drew Holiday, Luka Doncic didn't do that.
Yeah.
But if you're Paul George and Tim Hardaway Jr. is getting 30. What the? This guy can't even get 10 on a nightly basis. How the fucking hell
And he's, I mean,
I was looking
and
at
he's,
it.
I mean, these two wins against against the Clippers, like Tim Hardaway is gonna be a free agent this off season. Like
Yeah.
these games alone might get him that contract. So I mean,
I mean,
put up the numbers, man.
for
Like put it up.
for fuck's sake! I was like, I was driving. I actually had a, I was out sick. Sorry, I was out sick the whole morning. I was like looking through my phone. I'm like, for fuck's sake, why does Tim Hardaway Jr. have like 26, 28? And I think the score at halftime, so it was definitely going over. It was like 72-75 at half. And I was like, why not? If you're Paul George, at what point do you say, okay, he's got 20, and when he had 10, why didn't I do anything about it?
Hey Jeff,
Like,
can I read out
why did I let him continue to get?
can I read out Hardaway Jr.'s stats real quick? Just real quick, huh? So Tim Hardaway Jr. 38 minutes, 9 of 14 from the field, 6 of 8 from 3, only 50% from the line, ah. But he also had 5 assists. So like, was this part of the game
For
plan?
fuck's sake.
Na
I
was
don't,
this? It's just
I don't.
and to think
Okay.
that the Clippers tanked their last two games. Do you know how hard it is to lose to the Rockets and the Thunder, who are themselves tanking? Like how hard is that to do? And you wanted this matchup.
Okay.
You wanted this matchup against against the Mavs,
And
and now you're getting
and
now
yeah.
you're down 2-0, man.
And I think Luka
You seem
Doncic took
pissed.
that very, very, very. No, I'm not. I find it stupid. No, no, I'm not pissed. I'm not pissed at the Clippers. I think Ty Lue is a bit of a buffoon. Because okay, so at what point did you not? Okay, your game plan to beat the Mavericks, it's to really either isolate Luka Doncic and not really get his other teammates in a rhythm, or you get his other teammates in a rhythm. It's like it's the same treatment with Stephen Curry. But I think Luka Doncic is also taking this series personally because you wanted it. I'm giving it to you 100%. And nobody on the Clippers seems to be able to figure it out. Like, not Kawhi Leonard, who is primarily known to be one of the most cerebral and the best defenders in the NBA. Not Kawhi Leonard. He's not figuring it out. I'm more disappointed in Paul George, and I'm also disappointed in Ty Lue and the whole Pat Beverly situation. Pat Beverly cannot guard Luka Doncic. That's a fact. Let's really. I'm not gonna. I need to give Ty Lue the heat here because for crying out loud, why is it even like Pat Beverly super overrated? Get him out of the game, yo.
Oh yeah.
Like play a team
Like,
where you have Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, one of the Morris twins, Zubac and Ibaka or Batum. That way you'd have a lot more size because Luka Doncic is absolutely looking for Pat Beverly, posting him up and
oh
making
man,
mincemeat out of this guy. It is not
he was
happening.
hunting him the last 5 minutes of the game. He was actively hunting Patrick Beverly, and if it wasn't Pat Bev, it was Reggie Jackson. So it's mincemeat.
Because he knows he
He
has
was
size.
feasting.
Okay. And
Yeah,
yeah, if the Mavericks win this series, it is validation that Luka Doncic has arrived
baby goat.
to me. It is baby goat has arrived. It's just like Luka Doncic is so you got Luka Doncic, Trae Young, Julius Randle. These three all of a sudden are making a really big name for themselves. Giannis Antetokounmpo has already made a name for himself. He's won MVP already. But this is to me, if the Mavs make it out of this one, Luka Doncic has arrived. That is it to me. Like, okay, here's the next NBA superstar, Luka
Yeah, like
Doncic.
Luka
As if he hasn't
Doncic,
proven
man.
also in the past 2 years.
Like Luka Doncic just came right in the Clippers' faces. Like, get there.
What?
Just
Came right in the
came there. But
Okay, all
like
right. A little bit of
we kind of forget now.
yeah.
Like we kind of forget a bit. Diba? LeBron is 6'8", 6'9", 250. Luka Doncic is 6'8", about 240,
Almost the
245.
same.
So he's a big
Almost the
dude.
same.
Yeah,
Baby
so he's a big dude. So I mean, Kawhi Leonard had 41 points.
super big.
I mean, Kawhi Leonard had 41 points ganina. But then I don't know if maybe I'd rather have him just score in the high 20s, mid 30s, and have him
But
on
shut down the other
Luka.
guy.
Yeah, have him on Luka for most of the game. rather than exert himself
Yeah.
scoring 41 and then no one's checking the other guy who seems to be unstoppable.
You know,
Like we
I
can't
don't think the
we have to
Clippers are taking him
remember.
seriously.
Yeah, we have to remember that Kawhi is he has a foot injury, so we don't know how serious that really is. So and now you're down
Migs,
0-2.
hold
I
on.
mean,
You know what? Yeah. You know what pisses me off a lot about Kawhi Leonard? So he's probably the epitome of load management.
yeah,
Okay. What I mean by that is, so he when he was with the Spurs, he started that whole concept. It wasn't LeBron James. No, LeBron James would never really take a night off. Let's be clear on that. That's why the Cavaliers would win because they wouldn't win shit without LeBron. Everybody get your head out of your ass. LeBron James and I'll start load management. Kawhi Leonard did, and he's probably the poster boy for it. And I hate him because so when he goes to the Clippers, there are nights where you won't see Kawhi Leonard, and you can complain all you want, but Kawhi Leonard won't say a damn thing about it. So he does load management because the idea is that he'll be ready for the playoffs. Okay, so Kawhi Leonard takes a couple of nights off. His body is well rested, and the Clippers are kind of thinking we'll give him what he wants because when he did that with Toronto, it worked. He didn't miss a single game because you're not supposed to miss a game in the playoffs. Every game is crucial. He went into that playoff, he had an incredible run in the Eastern Conference, beat out the Golden State Warriors, who were also riddled with injuries during the finals, and then won. With the Clippers, I kind of like, okay, Kawhi, so, you did the same thing. So why aren't we seeing, okay, Biggs, answer me this. Why aren't we seeing a lot of Kawhi Leonard on Luka Doncic? Why aren't we seeing him fight over screens, trying not to get Pat Beverly cross-matched with Luka Doncic? To me, it's the same concept of what happened when you had the Warriors and the Cavaliers matchups in the past. Draymond Green, as much as possible, every time the Cavs would try to hunt Stephen Curry, they would really force Curry to just go there, go there, switch there. I'm switching here. They're not doing that. Like they're letting Bev suffer.
You remember
the
that Warriors Cavs series, diba? I mean, Klay Thompson would match like LeBron's minutes, diba? Or but
Draymond would match LeBron. Klay would
match Draymond would match LeBron. Yeah, but the point is you have your best defenders on the other team's best guy. I mean that just makes sense. Diba? So I mean, it's the same question everyone's asking, diba? I mean, you have this like one of a kind, all time one of the greatest defensive players on your team, and I know what are you saving him for? Diba? I mean, it's not to say na Kawhi Leonard didn't defend Luka Doncic at all this game, but what we're seeing is like give him just this one assignment. Give him this one assignment. Okay, Kawhi, I don't care if you only score 15 or 20, but shut this guy down because this is what you're known for. This is what you're here, but because you're one of the best two-way players.
Shut him down.
And
talk about this. Migs, hold on.
Go.
This is why Drew Holiday is so important.
Yeah.
That Drew Holiday guy, I'm telling you why all of a sudden, all these teams, it becomes super important. Because Drew Holiday is in Milwaukee. And I think the Bucks are they look so, that game too, they look so much more superior to Miami than I thought they ever did. And they look so scary that the only team I feel would match up right now with the Bucks are the Nets. Not the Sixers. I think the Sixers are a little bit of a disadvantage against the Bucks because the Bucks are a little bit more loaded offensively than the Sixers. That's just my take. The only team that could probably put the fear of God in the Bucks are the Nets because Drew Holiday will shut your best perimeter guy down. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Drew Holiday was the best pickup in the free agency market when the bubble ended.
Oh yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I mean, it didn't.
The bubble season ended. Drew Holiday.
It didn't debate. Like it didn't seem to be like that good at first, but now that they're reaping the fruits of that pickup. I mean, it looks really great. Debate. I mean,
because
it just makes sense.
It makes sense. I would have thought there's two teams. If I remember correctly, the conversation that we had, there were two teams that mabagay si Drew Holiday. And when I say mabagay, to all the people who are watching who don't understand what that word means, who would be a fit for Drew Holiday? It's the Clippers or the Bucks. The Bucks because they need a playmaker and they need a defensive stopper on the perimeter, for which Eric Bledsoe could not be. They have a three-point gunner and a sort of a scorer in Chris Middleton. They needed one more guy in the championship piece. That's Drew Holiday. The Clippers because Pat Bev is too small. He's tiny. Too small. He's
And
6'1". He's getting
he's
eaten
not
alive by Luka
and he's
Doncic.
not that good a defensive player. I have to say it out loud. I mean, he's not that good. I mean, I need a Jaffa. I mean, I have to get. We have to make this comparison. So let's compare.
No. All right, for everybody's reference, before Migs goes on this little like comparison to Pat Beverly, he hates Pat Beverly the way I probably hate Draymond. So probably take it with a grain of salt, but listen well to what he's about to say. Go ahead, Migs.
Yeah, I mean, so we have okay. Let's take the two LA teams. Diba? So you have the Clippers and you have Kawhi and Paul George, both two-way players. Diba? And now you have the Lakers, you have best player in the NBA, arguably still LeBron James, and you have a top 10 guy at Anthony Davis. Now, LeBron James does not guard the best player on the other team. You know why? Because they have guys
Schroeder, Matthews, KCP.
Because they have guys like KCP, Caruso, Schroeder, Matthews. They got those guys
Caruso.
so that
Russo.
underrated might be all NBA defense, diba? Might be all second team. Okay, so
Third team.
The point I'm trying to make is that the reason why LeBron James does not have to guard the best player on the other team for 48 minutes is that because they have guys who are on that roster just to do that, diba? On the Clippers,
correct.
like on the Clippers, the guys, I mean, the only guys who have that ability, who can defend and not take anything away from the offense, are their two superstars, who apparently they don't want to wear out. They don't want them to get too tired because they want them to score. They want them to be efficient, effective on the offensive end.
Yeah.
I mean, so
exactly.
So the thing is, I mean, the Batum signing was supposed to be like, oh, he's gonna provide you some more length, but no, Batum has not worked that well. I mean, Reggie Jackson was, I don't know, man. Reggie Jackson was really good. I think he was really good on a bad team, and then he got old. I think he lost a step when he moved from Detroit. I mean, the point I'm trying to make is that
right.
So if you have no other choice, because the only guys who can do that on your team are your two best players, like one of them has to do it. I mean, you don't have any choice. Like it's either gonna be Paul George or Kawhi. Diba? So if Kawhi takes on the responsibility of shutting down Luka, then Paul George has to step up offensively. Diba? Or it can be the other way around.
Exactly. All right,
diba?
now.
But the thing is, anyway, Jeff, last thing. The difficult thing for the Clippers is that they cannot win with just one of those two guys playing well. Diba? I mean, they can't win.
They had a hard time winning.
Diba? I mean, Kawhi Leonard scored 41, Paul George scored 28, and they still lost. Diba? So
exactly. Now, there has to be a third guy among good moves, and it's very apparent. So with the Mavericks, what they're doing is they're playing with a great rhythm, they're playing with a great flow.
A lot of confidence.
They're too top heavy. A lot of confidence. They're playing too top heavy. You know what I mean? I'm not saying TOO. I'm saying TWO. They're playing too top heavy. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. That's it. Everybody else on that basketball floor might not even see the basketball. That's the problem. There's not a lot of offense going. But here's where, again, I just felt like if the Clippers got Drew Holiday, they'd be a big-time favorite because he's a guy who also playmakes for you. Beverly won't do shit with the ball. He won't even make a three. Make a couple of layups. Run the break. But he won't do it.
Yeah.
I just feel bad because
And
the Clippers had an opportunity to get Drew Holiday. They didn't really do it.
no, I also feel bad for the fact that the no, I feel bad for Steven Ballmer for a bit long now, because like if they face the Lakers, that would be such an opportunity for the Clippers as an organization to finally say, no,
The
hey, we're
leapfrog.
actually the better team right now, diba?
Yeah, yeah,
And when you look at it, Jeff, when you look at the matchups, they actually had a favorable matchup against the Lakers, because I mean, who you'd put KCP probably on one of those guys, but who would guard the other guy? Diba? I mean, and you can't put AD there because he just get he's a good defender as a big guy on the wing, but you can't put him on a wing guy for 48 minutes. And the thing lang ba is that
again,
everyone was so hyped that they got Rondo. Oh, because they're gonna get playoff Rondo. He's gonna bring to the Clippers a lot of
fuck out of
playmaking, a lot
here.
of smarts. But the thing is,
Fuck
Rondo
out
does
of
not
here.
work. Like Rondo does not work in this matchup, in this series. And if you don't get past this series, like forget about it. You're not even gonna go. Diba, you're not even gonna get
Yeah,
to
face the
see playoff
Lakers.
Rondo, because and you have to
Ah,
and we have to remember that playoff Rondo. It's an on and off thing, diba? I mean, he's gonna have a good game here, and then a bad couple of games, and then a
yeah.
resurgent game
Mm-hmm.
in the fourth game. Diba? I
Yeah.
mean, that's what happened last year,
Uh,
diba? I mean, it's rough. It's
it,
frustrating for the
okay.
Clippers. It's really frustrating.
Here's my last take on the Clippers. They got to figure it out. I bet you if Tom Thibodeau coached the Clippers, this would be a 2-0, and the 2-0 would be like blowouts.
Yeah,
I place a lot of blame on Ty Lue. Because, so how does Ty Lue get off becoming a good coach? He's not a good coach. I think he was blessed with LeBron James. That's it. And it's just, okay, so what were the Cavs when Ty Lue was there? They were not really even a defensive team. I really think he was blessed with LeBron James.
yeah.
I didn't. So what happened when Cleveland had Mike Brown? They were a defensive team. They were a defensive juggernaut. What happened when Cleveland had, what was his name? David Blatt. They were a defensive
Doing
team.
that
The defensive
really good.
juggernaut too. When they had Ty
LeBron didn't like
Lue,
him
they
though.
weren't that good a defensive team, but they were, yeah, but they had LeBron, Kyrie, and K Love. Pretty good team. So when Ty Lue moves to the Clippers, I'm kind of wondering, okay, what are they, a defensive team? What are they? They I don't even know where the Clippers rank defensively. So I blame Ty Lue a lot because this team doesn't really have a firm identity. It's surprising, and Migs, it kind of blasted my mind when I saw the Lakers are the number one defensive team in the league, and then I remembered, oh wait, Frank Vogel was the coach of Paul George, Roy Hibbert,
Yeah,
David West, George Hill, and Lance Stephenson. That Indiana Pacers team is one of the best defensive rated teams of all time. I'm not talking about that year. I think it was 13, 14, where Paul George, so again, the lineup was Roy Hibbert, Paul George, David West, Lance Stephenson, and George Hill. That lineup, that five I mentioned, they composed one of the best defensive units of all time. Okay, remember that again, of all time. So then I realized it wasn't so much confusion as to when I realized that the Lakers can get by because Frank Vogel is actually a very good defensive coach.
yeah. I
The
mean,
second
very
best defensive
underrated at
coach in
making
basketball.
adjustments.
Very good at rate. I mean, very underrated. But because here's what you do, Mangud, when you have LeBron James. What do you have the rest of the team do? What do you have the rest of the team buy into? Defense.
Yeah,
Defense. And that's where the Clippers are very confusing. Like, I don't know, what are you guys? Are you a defensive team? Where do you rank exactly? You have Paul. Okay, so your lineup goes Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Patrick Beverly, Serge Ibaka at some points, and then you might have one of the Morrisons or Ivica Zubac. And then you have Rajon Rondo, Terrence Mann, and a bunch of others come off the bench. So ideally, you'd have a great defensive system because you have four guys on the floor who predicate themselves on playing defense. But we haven't seen that at all. Matter of fact, the score was 127-120. How did the score get up so high? What? That's what I thought my good mix coming into that bet. Like, okay, the Clippers are gonna clamp down. They're gonna slow the pace of the game down. They're gonna buckle down
Mm.
on defense. They're gonna make life hard for Luka Doncic. None of that happened. The halftime score was 72-75. What the fuck? Like what? Like, I was like sitting at home. I was saying, what the fucking hell happened?
And di
Like,
ba,
I don't know. All right.
and di ba the selling point on this team was that,
For-
again, no, you have two of the best two-way players in the league right now on the same team, di ba? That was the selling
Exactly.
point na
Shut him down. Shut him
they
down.
could play, like they could play both ends very well. But then,
Exactly.
it's not working. I mean, I
Not
think
panning out.
not that I'm hating, but I know you know I don't like him, but like
Yeah.
Pat Beverly, I think should,
It's too
like,
small.
get him out of the rotation. Take him out of the rotation. Put Terrence Mann in the
Batum.
game. Probably.
Batum.
Yeah, probably. So
What did you play Batum for?
yeah, you can put, yeah, and you could theoretically have a lineup of Paul George as your de facto point guard,
Kawhi Leonard.
Kawhi Leonard, and
Kawhi
then
Leonard. Batum.
Marcus Morris,
Batum.
probably Batum, and maybe
Yeah.
Ibaka. But I don't know the health of
And
Ibaka. No, but he missed
Yeah, but
30 games this season. So it's,
I don't care, but that's what you bought. That's what you got Ibaka for.
and
Play him in the,
probably
play the
and then
man.
yeah, and then bring Terrence Mann off the bench, diba? Like, let him come off the
Drew
bench.
Bosh and Ron.
Yeah, it's I don't know, man. How do you stop? How do you
You
stop?
gotta move on from
How do you
that.
stop a Luka Doncic who's gotten this momentum, who has a lot of confidence na, and you have Tim Hardaway who's got a lot of
Put
confidence.
Kawhi Leonard on him.
Like Kristaps Porzingis actually looks really good in this series. I mean, he scored 20 points kanina. And I think there's been an emphasis on the Mavs team to tell Kristaps Porzingis, okay, Kristaps, all we want you to do is spot up for three, or like
Yeah.
pick and pop. Like, that's all you should do. It's nothing else.
Yeah.
It's really effective. It's really effective.
Yeah.
And I can't believe we're
All right, we
talking a
gotta
lot
move
more.
on
I
to
mean,
the Clippers.
yeah, I mean, no, and we
We gotta move
like,
on.
it definitely felt like the bigger game, no? Because then with the Lakers and Suns at
They
1-1,
put themselves
like
in
the
some
stakes are, yeah.
Yeah, stakes have become a little bit better. Anyway, all right. So the last game of today was the Nets and the Celtics. The Nets won. Now, basically,
No,
looking forward to tomorrow's matchup.
no surprise. No surprise there.
Now,
And then Jason
I just
Tatum
actually
got
wanted to see
hurt.
if Derek was
Like,
watching.
shit.
Now, I actually just wanted to see if Derek was watching and see if I could piss him off a little bit. Like, we're not even gonna talk about the Nets Celtics, but all right, real quick on that. Not really real quick. Here's the biggest question with that matchup: are these the Nets that we're all supposed to be seeing? Are these the Nets that put the fear of God in everybody? Are these the Nets that all of a sudden, because they look super scary? Like, wow! All of a sudden, you have a coach in Steve Nash. You have a coaching staff in Steve Nash, Mike D'Antoni, Amari Stoudemire. These guys know one thing and one thing only. It's supposed to be offense, but they're shutting you down on the defensive end. Like, okay, where did that come from? All of a sudden, this team is playing defense, and if you're the team like the Celtics, like, holy shit, I gotta stop Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving. That is all of a sudden that becomes such an overwhelming thought. Talking about the Nets, are they peaking at the right time?
I mean, you can say that because now they actually have all three guys na. Diba? Diba, when you have all three guys, even when they're all at like 80% health, like if they're only 80% of what they should be, they're still better than 95% of the league. I mean, these are not just three guys, Jaffa. These are like three top 10 guys. Two MVPs.
Probably
Diba?
top five.
Yeah, I mean,
Think about it. Yeah.
but the thing is, let's take the defense with a grain of salt, because then again, the Celtics do not have a lot of weapons. Like, we know how Kemba Walker has been the past couple of years, and then it's but the thing is now, with the Nets, like, you kind of have to understand that the defense is gonna come and go because they don't have the personnel who can give you a sustained, consistent defense. So that's forgivable. But no, but for the Nets, no, it's the offensive efficiency. Diba? I mean, we see Joe Harris. We see Joe Harris attempt 10 threes and then make 7 of them. Like pull up in transition because all the attention is on these three guys. Diba? And then, again, it just like there. I didn't say that the Nets have no defense. I'm just saying that with how good they are offensively, diba, they can afford to have their defense come and go. Huh?
Okay, hold on. Uh, if there's one thing I know that Derek is really good at, he is so good at trolling. Trolling in the sense that the Nets. So if you read this, it's like that blurry, like your fan. The Nets have no defense. He's been waiting to say this for the longest time. I'm gonna give a little bit of love here.
Like always a good day.
Tatum.
Always a good day at the office, diba? If you're 3 stars, don't even have to play 30 minutes. I mean, like.
Oh yeah, they didn't play.
Oh hey, oh there. I never said that the Celtics could upset the Nets. Ah. Like there is no world in that where that is happening. Ah. Even if Jalen Brown was there, even if Jalen Brown was there,
They wouldn't.
the Celtics would probably get like 2 games. I give them 2 games. But then those would be 2 games
So
where
wait.
Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown would score
Okay.
40 each.
I think the only way Tatum got to score. Tatum's got to score 60 actually. So
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, the 1-8 matchup is paired up with the 4-5. So we might mix. This is the matchup I'm super excited for. Nets Bucks.
Bucks. Yeah, and that's Bucks. I mean, that's the series to watch.
Wow, that's the series.
That's the series to watch actually because they're in that bracket.
God.
Yeah.
And hey, if you follow the chat, there's one person who keeps saying the Bucks aren't for real. That's gonna be the Bucks take squad.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's gonna be so much fun.
They're actually gonna clash now.
All right.
So it's
They are. So for everybody's reference, before we go on any further, Derek, the producer of NBA Frontrow, the podcast, a co-founder as well of Sideline Sports LLC, soon to release merchandise. He's been saying the whole year that the Bucks aren't for real. I beg to differ. The Bucks are for real because again, I'm so high on Drew Holiday. We will now know when they meet the Nets because the Nets are probably gonna. These two teams, the Nets and the Bucks, they look like giants right now in front of the Celtics and the Heat. They just look overwhelming. They're like the overwhelming favorite. Like it's not even gonna be a gentleman's sweep. It's gonna be a death sweep. Like they're probably gonna get murdered in games 3 and 4. And again, the Bucks are for real. If I remember correctly, the Bucks did beat the Nets earlier in the season, and that was when the Nets loaded up. They had Durant, Kyrie, and Harden. I could be mistaken here again. Derek might be already digging really deep into it.
like how bad is it for the Celtics now? Like how bad is it for the Celtics now? We're already talking about the next series for the Nets.
It's
I mean,
not because there's no way they're gonna beat the Nets. There's just no way. There's no way unless.
How about this? How about this? Let me present this question to you. This hypothetical. Would it be better for the Celtics to just lay down and die for this series and save Jason Tatum for next season? Because he might you don't want him to go all out and then might get hurt only to lose in a sweep, diba? I mean, you still want them to go out there and, because I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
I disagree.
Yeah. Because I don't know if there's gonna be a shake up of the Celtics roster after this season. I think one of the two Jays is gonna go, and then I don't know if they're keeping Kemba Walker, and then Marcus Smart. They've been putting him in trade talks. We've heard a lot of chatter na Marcus Smart is available, but then they're still there. So I don't know, man. I think this is the end of this era for the Celtics. Oh man, yeah.
Okay. for all the Celtics fans, especially for Marty, if you're watching, I'm gonna give you a little bit of hope here. So here's what the Celtics need to do to win against the Nets. Number one, they need to take a private jet to Simala and then offer like one of those red or blue candles. Those actually work. They're called miracle candles. Second, on a more realistic note, Jason Tatum really has to score like 50. The Celtics have to put on and Brad Stevens has to put on a defensive maestro performance to shut all three down. You have your handful along with James Harden. Then you got to guard Kevin Durant. Then you got, oh my God. Now it looks, now that we're talking about it, they look overwhelming. And I want to correct Derek saying Tatum will have to score 200 points to lose by 5 points. First of all, there's no way that the Nets will score 200 points. This is a bit of a hyperbole. But he did put up a very interesting point. Okay, let's highlight this one. I did say that the Nets don't play any defense because this was evident throughout the season. They don't play any defense. But I did say it at the top of this discussion. Holy shit, they are now playing defense. How scary is that? Okay. I said it from the beginning of the season where they're not playing defense. Probably their game plan is just to out offensive, perform the other team. And they did do that for the most part of the regular season. Now, in the playoffs, holy shit, they're playing defense. How scary is that you can't stop them on offense? Now they're playing defense. Kind of a scary thought. And that's the point I'm trying to make. Derek, I know you're watching. You have to be because you're the producer of this show. So I'm giving your Nets some love. Miggy and I are giving your Nets some love because, hey, they look like a juggernaut right now. And I don't know if any team out there can actually stop them except...
Yeah. But the thing is, they don't have to play like elite top 10 defense if their if their offense is that good. Like they only have to competent enough defense for that game, diba? Challenge some shots, like close out, but then let your offense do the rest. Diba?
Okay. All right. So again, with the Brooklyn Nets, they just look like a juggernaut. I'm very excited to see the Bucks and the Nets make it to the second round. I would pay to see that matchup live. But at this point in the telecast, Miguel, if you and I know what time it is, let's see if it'll play here. It is time for... Is it playing? I can't see it.
Showroom.ph, baby.
$1 million. Let me do that one more time. I can't see it. All right. It is time for the $1 million question presented by Showroom.ph. Quality homes, quality prices. Your friendly neighborhood home finder for the Vis area at this point in time. Again, we'd like to thank Showroom.ph for sponsoring today's podcast and sponsoring the $1 million question. Make it rain all day, all game. Now, here's the $1 million question. Earlier throughout the week, Jordan Clarkson and Julius Randle were awarded their individual titles. I thought that they gave... The NBA is super smart, and I think it's super touching that they do these things. So Jordan Clarkson was awarded the Sixth Man of the Year by his own competition in Joe Ingles. Pretty smart. Pretty great show of sportsmanship. Earlier in the day, Julius Randle was awarded the Most Improved Player award by his son during a next practice. So here's a funny thing that I kind of want to ask. There have been 3 versions of awarding. This version of awarding where the NBA is coming up with a very unique take on how to award these awards. Normally there's like a press con, and then the other version where there's a press con. They awarded during specific times of the year where there's a press con, and then your friends and family are there, and then you're getting the award, and then you make a short speech to receive the award, and and then finally there was the one where they tried a couple years back where they had an end of season version. Question: which one should the NBA formalize as a natural way of receiving and giving out this award?
No, I think it kind of felt that the award show thing was a bit too much because then God, like, this was in the off season. I mean, the games are over, and then there's because if you award, like for example, diba, Jeff, sometimes they used to award the MVP in the middle of the playoffs, diba? You remember that, right? Like
yeah.
In the conference finals, siguro, right, just right before the finals, diba? So and the thing about that was that it was so organic because then they'd award it, they bring out the award right before the game, and then the fans were the home fans were there,
Oh
and
yeah,
at the
support
same
for the team.
time,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, and at the same time, it provided a lot of like motivation for the other team, because then they're saying like, oh man, that's
yeah.
no, we're playing against MVP now. Let's prove everyone wrong that he shouldn't be MVP. But that's what Hakeem
Rain on the
did
parade.
to like that's what Hakeem did to David
David
Robinson, di ba?
Robinson.
Because he felt na David
Yeah, I
Robinson
remember
like
that. Yeah.
stole his MVP. So like that just
He has a
felt
point.
more organic. That just felt more organic
Yeah,
because then it was in the middle of the playoffs.
yeah.
The emotions are
I
still high,
agree.
and just the impact
Yeah.
of receiving the award is felt on both teams, right? Because it's no it's
I like
motivation
that. I
for the
like
other
that. That's a
team.
good take, actually.
Yeah, it's motivation for the other team, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot of energy. It's energy. It's an added boost for
Yeah,
the team who gets the award.
one hundred
And
percent. Mm-hmm.
but the thing is though, um, I just think na if you do a press con, if the NBA goes that route, um,
Mm.
I would rather
But Ruth,
have them. No, it's tomato route. Like
tomato
if they do
root
a like
route. You can make argument. Yeah,
if they do this press con thing, like I'd rather have them do
yeah.
it before or after
Season.
the game. Yeah, like during the playoffs. Like
Yeah,
don't do it after the playoffs where no one's playing na, because then by that time no one cares, 'di ba? Because then it's an
kind of.
afterthought na.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Let me make this argument for that. But I'm gonna agree with you on the awarding during the playoffs because it was so much fun to watch. Like I remember when Steve Nash won the award and he'd be hoisting it and you're kind of rubbing it in the opponent's face. Oh,
Yeah.
MVP, the defensive player of the year, the sixth man of the year, the most improved player of the year. The fans are, So, what I'm not a fan of is right now they're doing it because of COVID, so they're coming up with really cool angles. It doesn't really make sense to award it. The fans aren't really fully back yet, so that I'm taking that out. I made the argument for the end of season awards because that was like probably when the dust settled. Like, okay, who really is MVP? Who really is like if you're a writer or if you're one of those guys tasked to the coming up with awarding the points to that particular player, you factored in everything. All right, I think that was the concept behind it. Okay, you factored in everything, and now you're thinking, okay, who really deserves to be MVP? Who really deserves to be MIP, deep poise, so on and so forth? Who deserve all the rest of the accolades? But again, it lacked the luster of just awarding it organically in the playoffs. Like the fans are there, the other team is there, and that's just like okay, if you're like the other team, and if you're the other team's fans base, you're like watching. Okay, all right, we're revved up, we're ready to go. Take him out, beat his ass. Simple as that. MVP, huh? And you got like on the other side, let's say for example the other team, we got the MVP on our team. He's supposed to win, and that just like adds the spice. That's like the spice of life in the NBA. If you know what I mean. The spice of life in the NBA.
Yeah, like I want
Fun.
I want to see someone like hunt someone down during the game, like go out for blood. Because di ba usually in the
Yeah.
conference finals, now if the in an ideal world, you'd have like the two MVPs going at it in the finals or in the conference finals, di ba? Like because these are the two best guys
Yeah.
and the two best teams, like number one and number two in MVP voting, and the number two guy is just gonna say, "Fuck, man, I should have won it, and let me prove to you in front of all these
Added
people why
motivation.
I should be the MVP," di ba?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, even
It's
for even for the other awards, I mean,
I agree with that.
and diba, ultimately it's for the home fans. Diba? It's for the guys who've always cheered on this team. Diba? So it cheered this team on. I'm sorry.
I
So
agree.
award it in front of the fans, like
Yeah, I
right
agree with that.
after the or halftime. How about do it halftime?
Yeah, I'll agree. I agree with you 100% because again, I mean, it's just so much more fun to watch. You know what I mean? Like there was never anything wrong with it, but I think that the NBA went through a couple of experiments here and there, and they're trying to see which works, which doesn't. And ultimately, I think they got to go back to that. just awarding it during the playoffs, like game one of the second round or something. It just makes it so much more fun. And there's such a narrative written on good, like when you do it. So, anyway, $1 million question answered, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. Your boy Jap, your boy Mix, NBA Front Row the podcast. That was a lot of fun. Man, we hope to see Popoy back soon. He will be.
It's a really quick hour, no?
Diehard fans. Oh, that went by fast. I didn't even notice. It's your boy Migs. Any parting shots? Anybody want to shout out? Show some love. What's up?
Just a parting shot, no. The great thing about this playoffs, it's the youth movement, because in every series, there's a young guy who's just out there trying to prove himself, and people have to remind you that Jason Tatum, it seems like he's been in the NBA for years, but he's only 22 years old, guys. 22 years old. And he's taking on the Nets.
Fourth year, like, everybody gotta relax.
He's taking on the three-headed monster of the Nets.
I think
all by himself. Yeah.
Okay, so everybody was kind of saying that for a while there, the next Kevin Durant would be who was it? I can't remember anymore. There was a lot of comparisons, like Kevin Durant. I think it was Brandon Ingram one, and then a couple of other players. But I think Jason Tatum is probably the closest to Kevin Durant we've seen in a long time. Like, I think ultimately Durant when he fades into the sunset, and Jason Tatum is gonna be like, oh wow, he's like one of the most unstoppable offensive players, one of the most overwhelming offensive players this game has ever seen. So
yeah, I mean, again, youth movement, guys. Man, this is. Appreciate this, because this is the new generation, guys. You know, LeBron, Curry, Chris Paul, they don't have a lot of time left on their NBA careers. So let's great again. I said this last week. Great time for basketball. Great time to be a basketball fan. Like the youth movement is, and I hope we get to talk about this more in our next episode. And if anyone's thinking about betting on that Memphis Jazz series, Memphis Jazz game tomorrow, my own non-expert opinion, bet Memphis. They have the momentum. Bet Memphis, guys. Dylan Brooks is just gonna get in Donovan Mitchell's face. No.
Ja Morant gets 7 assists, yes or
no? No, he's not.
We bet the same. Ooh, I kind of agree.
Bet Memphis, people.
Okay, listen, because I'm betting Memphis also because, well, the spread for one, and then I feel like Memphis is going to be either a close game or Memphis just might take it, or the Jazz take it, but it's going to be a super close game. And I feel like it's one of those games where Ja Morant has to score. Like, he can't not score. You know what I mean? Ja Morant is predicated to be one guy, to go one way, it's supposed to be a scorer. All right, now, parting shots for me. Again, I want to give a mad shout out to two businesses. One, Common Ground, Bogo City, Cebu. Congratulations again on your soft opening. Mark and Mickey Malazarte, if you're watching, I want to give a mad shout out to you guys. Congratulations on the soft opening. Myself, Miggy, a couple of others, we're as soon as Miggy gets his bum ass over here back to Cebu, because he's getting a lot of invites from a lot of people to come back already, maybe just one time. For the love of
people
God,
want this.
Hang out and chill, and no, they want you because of
people
me.
Want this,
and they only it's like you have a cool friend. So again, mad shout out to Common Ground. Congratulations on your soft opening. A lot of love coming from NBA Front Row the podcast, and of course, again, a big shout out to Showroom.ph, quality homes, quality prices, your friendly neighborhood home finder. Thank you again so much for sponsoring the podcast. Again, one more time for all the guys out there, this has been Jav. This has been Migs. We'll see you guys on Monday. Keep an eye out for Friday Phil, because, hey, he's been saying it this whole podcast. Mickey will be doing our NBA Friday Phil. Keep an eye out for that.
Boy, this is why we want. This is why we need you back, boy, because this is supposed to be your Friday Phil.
Again, guys,
no, it's
NBA Front Row the podcast. We're out.